Hey fashion lovers, Datoyin Stitches here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Anytime you come across this video, I'm wishing you loves and kisses. And yes, this video is for beginners who are trying to understand fashion, who are struggling with basic bodies and all that. So this is a basic bodies I'm drafting here, and it's actually the half scale of the basic bodies, and it's going to be very beginner friendly, where I'll be explaining everything and taking everything gradually, step by step, to enable you understand what I am doing. And in the course of the video, I'm going to explain all my actions and why I took the actions I took. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy, because it's going to be a good ride, and I hope to be able to spend good quality time explaining the video to you. So this is me now trying to divide the paper, and when I was done dividing the paper, I came down on the edges, or by the edges, by 1 inch, and then I'm now connecting it together. This is more like a starting line. It's known as a starting line. It's known as a shoulder line. Now this enables you to take proper and accurate measurements. When you have a starting line or a shoulder line, you are able to take accurate measurements, because you'd have to place your tape at the beginning of the line, and then you go down to any number or any length you want to take or you are about to take. Now I came in by 1 inch from the center front to also create like a border line to enable me also be in conjunction with the two sides, in the sense that it enables me to be able to take my measurements properly. Now that borderline guides me. It guides me on what to do. So that's the borderline here. Now we're going to take our shoulder measurement, and we know that usually the shoulder varies from different persons. So my shoulder is 16. So I came in by my shoulder divided by 2, which is 8. Then I also came in by my neck width and my neck depth. Now we can also determine our neck depth and our neck width by dividing our bust measurement by 16 plus 1 inch. Whatsoever it gives to you, that is your neck width. Now your neck depth can be determined by how deep you want it to be, but this is a basic bodice, so I am going with my basic neckline, which is my normal neck, which is 3.75 by 3.75. That was what I took, because my bust divided by 16 plus 1 inch that's what it's going to give to me. Now the next thing you're going to do is to come down for your armhole measurement. And to get your armhole measurement, you divide your bust by 6. When you divide your bust measurements by 6, whatever you get, you add it 1. When you plus it by 1, whatever it gives to you, that is what you will mark. So my bust divided by 6 plus 1 is 8.1. Now because I had to come down by 1 inch on my shoulder line, I came down by 9.1. That's the line you're seeing here. I came down by 9.1. That was what I came down by. Now this is me also coming down by 11 inches, that is my bust point, and 18 inches, that is my half length. And I'm going to do this on the other side and connect the lines. Now whilst you're waiting, let me go further to explain. Now you know the armhole varies from different persons, and there are sometimes where you forget to take your round armhole measurement and you are now confused because your customer has gone already. It is not a hassle. Just divide your bust measurement by 6. Whatsoever it gives to you, add 1 to it. That is your armhole measurement. It makes it very, very easy. And then once you're done with that, you can now start to do other things. And then to your neck width, it is also important you divide it to be able to get the actual neck width, because if you don't do that, when you make your clothes or your dresses, it is going to be up, like it's not going to be comfortable at all. Like it's not going to be comfortable. So you always have to make sure you take these measurements. Now I have labeled my bust point, my under bust, and my full length, or I can say my half length, because it's a half scaled body. And you remember I said I came down by 1 inch on my shoulder line. I'm going to connect that now to my neck width. Now after that, I'm going to come to my chest measurement and take in my shoulder measurement to be able to have a straight line to connect back to my shoulder slant. Now this enables me to have avenue for my armhole. That's what creates the room for my armhole. Like I said earlier, this video is very much beginner friendly. I'm going to take my time to explain everything so you understand it. Now this is me taking my round bust measurement. My round bust divided by 4 is going to give me 10.75. now that is what I'm going to mark on the chest line right now. When I mark this on the chest line, I am going to come to the shoulder line. I made the line I connected to the shoulder line, divide it by 2, get the measurement, and then mark it and come in on that place by 1/2 inch. Now I am going to connect it from the shoulder line to my chest line to have that curve that gives my armhole curve. Yes, that's how it works. It's not rocket science, it's just a gradual process. And when you're able to have this curve, you see it looking like this. Now after you are done with this, there's something they normally call it nipple to nipple, but then again the world has revolved and is now known as your bust pan measurement. Now to enable you get your bust pan measurement, you come in, you take your tape and you measure from your first nipple to your second nipple. So how do I explain this much more better? Because when your customers come in, you will not be able to tell them, oh, take off your clothes, let me know. You just take your tape and you place it in front of your customer, like on the chest. You place it in front. Whatsoever you get, some vary from 8, some vary to 9, some vary to 10. Most of the time when you see your customers, if you've gone further, you can be able to determine what the bust pan will be by just looking at your customer. So my bust pan is 8 divided by 2 is 4. That is what I did there. So I came in on from my under bust by 4. I came in on my waist length or my half length by 4, and then I connected the 2 lines with a straight line that you saw there. Then now I came down on my waist length or my half length, and I divided that line, the straight line, I divided it into 2 with 1 inch. That's giving it 0.5 inch, 0.5 inch on both sides. That was what gave me this. And then I connected it back to my bust point with the sharp edge you're seeing right there. Now this is me going over to my bust point to impute my round bust measurement, because my chest line and my round bust and my bust point have the same measurement. Then I would come to my waistline and impute my waist measurement plus 1 inch for the dart that I took. Now I'm going to connect these lines, connect the lines, and then when I'm done connecting the bust point and the chest line together, I will now roll it down to my waist or my half length line, and this is what you get. Now after this, you get your tape, and on your bust point you come down by 2 inches. You come down by 2 inches, and after you take the 2 inches, you connect it back to your bust pan measurement. When you connect it, it becomes your side bust dart. That is how you get your side bust dart. Your side bust dart, you go back to it again, you divide it into 2. Now when you do this, you connect it out with 1 inches, and after that you make a triangle from one point to the other to enable when you cut it out and you place it on your fabric, you still take out this measurement, so when you're done making your dresses, everything come out looking beautiful and perfectly nice. So yes, this is your front pattern for your half scale basic bodice. This is the front pattern. It's no rocket science, and yeah, thank you. And we're going to go over to the back now. We're just going to extend the 1 inches we came down by for our chest line back again, and we're going to connect it back to that line. Now this is, like I said earlier, to enable you have proper and accurate measurements, because when you start from a straight line, it helps you to have accurate measurements everywhere. Then when you're done with that, you go back again and you get your armhole measurement, which is you coming down by 9.1, or what your measurement is. For me it is 9.1, so I came down by 9.1. and remember, my actual armhole measurement is 8.1. Why it is 9.1 is because you would have to come down by 1 inch on your shoulder line for your shoulder slope. That's what made it a 9.1. Please don't forget, all these measurements are very important. Any measurement you miss out is going to affect whatever you're doing. Now if you can see, I placed my tape. I'm going to go to my half length minus 2 inches and I will mark it, because my shoulder length, and for my shoulder length, my full length for my back and my full length for my front, it's not the same thing. The back measurement for the half length or the full length, it's always different from the front measurement for the front, for the half and the full length. So yes, my front measurement for the full length or half scale is 18 or waistline, while for my back it is 16. Yes, now you remember I went in by 1 inch from the front, center front, to enable me also create a border for my line. Yeah, this is what I'm doing again. I am also now coming in by 1 inch from my shoulder length to my half length to enable me create the border line, so I'll be able to make accurate measurements in tailoring or in fashion and design, or as a fashion and designer, a tailor, a seamstress, whatever you call yourself. You always have to make sure you are taking accurate measurements, because if you don't take the accurate measurements, it's as good as you making the dress you're making for somebody else entirely. Once a measurement is wrong or a measurement is missing, it is obvious that that clothes or that thing you're doing is no more for the customer that you are doing it for. So you have to be patient, you have to be consistent, and you have to be accurate with what you are doing. Yes, so back to the video. This is me coming in by my shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches, and I'm also going to replicate it on my chest line. So replicating it on my chest line, like I told you before when I was drafting the front, is to enable me have a straight line for my armhole. This is me coming in by 3.75 for my neck width and coming in by 1 inches for my neck depth for my back neck line. Remember, the front and the back neckline, it's not the same. And again too, if the width of the neckline is long, ensure that it is not too deep on the depth, and if it is deep, ensure it is not too wide, because if you don't take note of these things, you end up making a dress and it is falling off your shoulder, or you end up making a dress, it's exposing what you don't want it to expose, depending on what your client wants. Yes, so this is me connecting my shoulder slope. And yes, when I'm done with this now, I am going to, like you see here, the 1 inches. Now I'm going to connect it to get my armhole line. Remember, my armhole line is what enables me to create what you're seeing right now. Now when I'm done with this, I will come in for my bust pan measurement. And remember, your bust span is your bust span divided by 2, which will give you whatsoever your bust span is. Mine is 4. Now I'm going to connect that with a straight line. And also remember, you're going to divide this line into 2, which is using 1 inch to divide it into 2, 0.5 inches on both ends, and then you connect it back to your chest line. All these things are so easy and they are very, very friendly. That is why I am taking my time to explain it to you, because I need my tutorials to be very much beginner friendly. It is going to be very much beginner friendly because you are going to understand it. And yes, my comment sections will be open. Anything you don't understand, anything you find difficult to understand, you can still send it in the comment sections and I'll answer your questions. So this is me taking my round bust measurement, and we're going to divide our armhole line again by 2. When we divide it by 2, whatsoever we get, we connect it. Then we come in by 0.5 inches, and then we connect it to create our armhole. We connect it to create our armhole. And ensure that you place your ruler the appropriate way it is supposed to be placed. This enables you to create and make beautiful lines. It is good to have proper linings when you're making your work. So when you connect it or you want to transfer to your fabric, you see it looking very beautiful. That is the essence of it. And also to create a good shape. If you see any rough edges, it's also very important to smoothen it out. Now this is me taking my waist measurement, which is my waist divided by 4, whatsoever it gives to me. I add 1 inch for my dart intake, and then I connect it back to my chest line. And yes, don't forget, these things are very important. Ensure to take the accurate measurements to enable you take things down properly on your drawing sheet, or if you're the type that does a freehand sketching, you're doing it the right way. Now on your 1 inch that you came down by for your neck depth, you come down by 6 inches. You can come down by 7, you can go up by 5, you can go up by 4, you can even go up by everything depending on what you want. This is to enable you to prevent your zip bulge. Like, it prevents your zip bulge. You know, when you finish making a dress and then you see some folds on your clothes, this prevents your zip bulge. Now you also know that your waist, some have this dip, like it's called a waist dip. Some have it very inside, and if you have customers like that, you can come in by 1 inches or 1.5 inches depending on how deep it is. Even some you can come in by as much as 2 or 3 inches. Then when you do that, you connect it back to the 6 inches. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I came in by 0.5 inches for my zip bulge alteration. Then I also came up by 0.75 inches. I came up by 0.75 inches. I marked it and connected it back to one of my dart legs. This is also to prevent zip bulge and also to prevent that dip, because when there's a dip you have to take it from both sides. So yes, this is basically it for the video. Thanks for watching if you watched till this point, and I want to say a big thank you. Like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Bye.